Good morning. Welcome to the Big Developments Conversation, part of the Wilmington Biz Conference and Expo. We're here today with Roger Perry, founder and president of East West Partners, the developer behind the 13-story mixed-use project downtown River Place and some other projects in the area. Thank you for being with us today, Roger.
Thank you. I'm delighted to be here with you.
So I wanted to start our conversation today with a little bit of your background. How did you get into the development industry?
Well, I've been in it quite a long time. After I graduated from Chapel Hill, I went to work in Atlanta for a short time in the non-real estate business. But after about 8 months, went to Charlotte in the real estate business with the old Sea Pines company out of Hilton Head Island, South Carolina. They had a project outside of Charlotte on a lake, actually in South Carolina. I went from there to Richmond with Sea Pines, where they had another primary home community. And then left Richmond in the early 80s. Wanted to come back to North Carolina. I'm a native North Carolinian and wanted to come back, and we found an opportunity in the Research Triangle Park area in Durham, and we developed a large 800-acre planned community called Woodcroft there, which was kind of the start of East West Partners. And we've been developing in the state of North Carolina ever since, predominantly in the Triangle here, but also in Charlotte, Greensboro, in the central part of the state, and now Wilmington for a few years. And we're I like to sleep in my own bed, so we don't go outside the state of North Carolina. We've confined our business to North Carolina because we feel like we know it and understand the market. And real estate being a very local business, we think that suits the culture of our company well.
Okay. Well, tell us a little bit about what's happening now with River Place. What's the update?
River Place is finishing up. We have lots of residents who have moved in to the South Tower, the tower that's at the corner of Water Street and Chestnut, and also the building that wraps the parking garage on Water Street. We have lots of residents there. We have in the tower that is behind that, which is an apartment building. I think we've got about 20 people who've moved in there. We just got the CO on it about a month ago, 6 weeks ago. And so it's, the merchants are moving rapidly to open up. Axis Fitness and Mellow Mushroom are ready to open. The DGX convenience store, Bank America, all should open up in the next short while.
Okay. And going back to when you guys were considering, submitting a proposal for this project, what made you want to do something like this in Wilmington?
Well, I think there were 3 or 4 compelling reasons for us. Number one, we didn't know very much about Wilmington, but in our due diligence and research on Wilmington, we came to the conclusion, which we still hold today, and perhaps even more strongly, that Wilmington is a vibrant, active, energetic place with great leadership, great momentum, and we look forward to hopefully doing business here and being part of the business community in Wilmington for a long time. Our local partners, Lucian Ellison and McKay Siegel, who run our company in Wilmington, are both live there and are committed to the city and feel good about it. So Wilmington was the primary motivation. The second one was constructive reuse or mixed use infill projects like River Place are what we do. I mean, we've built a number of projects in many ways with some of the same bones as River Place, so it fit what we do well. And then, we got also convinced that being partners with the city in a public-private partnership would be advantageous, because we found that both at the elected official level and at the staff level that Wilmington has extraordinary public servants and political leaders for a city no larger than it is. We were surprised with the energy, the intelligence, the sophistication, the positive attitude that we felt from the city government. So those were kind of the compelling reasons. We did a market study as well and found that there looked like there was plenty of demand. No one had done a condominium project in a long time downtown, and we felt there was pent-up demand for that. And the success of our sales has proven that. We hired our a local brokerage company, Intercoastal, with Keith Beatty and his team to manage the sales and marketing for it. And not only have they done a magnificent job of that, it's enjoyed great success.
Okay, and just a little background. So the River Place has replaced a parking deck that was no longer going to be usable.
Right.
Right. And then you've also got a downtown project where you're rehabbing a 100-year-old building into office space. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, our office for the River Place project has been at 228 Front, right next door to 226, where the old Gaylord Building is. And we kept walking by that and looking at it and said, "Wow, what an interesting building," and what have you. And then we kind of came up with the idea of doing a workspace and a workplace there for people. We found a partner out of Dallas called Common Desk, which has been very successful. And we just thought that having an exciting, remodeled and rehabilitated building would be something that's very appealing. We think it's going to be. We got a great design, great local general contractor, and John Monteith and his company doing the work, and they are absolutely superb at what they do. And so we're excited about it. We've even got we've got some folks who've already rented some space, and we're going to move our offices in there. And so we're excited about it. It's going to be a really exciting workspace. It's going to be a place where you can, work successfully and network extremely well. It's going to be also a place that's fun and a good place to socialize. We're doing everything we can, and I think that a lot, to make sure that it is safe and healthy place to work. We're taking some extraordinary measures in light of the pandemic to make sure that it's a safe work environment. And so we're really excited about it. It'll open up hopefully in January. Hopefully we'll be finished then, and people will be moving in.
Can you say who the tenants will be that you've signed on so far?
Probably shouldn't at this point. Yeah. Well, I hadn't asked their permission. They probably wouldn't mind, but I hadn't asked them for their permission to do that.
Well, I'm gonna try, Roger. So.
Okay, well, sure. Appreciate that.
Okay. So let's see. Another project I wanted to ask you about, which has been placed on hold, as a result of the pandemic, or had been placed on hold, was the $90 million Gateway project.
Right.
What can you tell us about that one?
Well, we have been in conversation, ongoing conversation with the city about it. And you're right, with the uncertainty of the times and uncertainty of what, the nature of the real estate business is going to be a post-pandemic, and with no sense of real urgency, neither the city nor we have felt a need to rush and push ahead with that. But the city is getting ready to give us a proposed agreement, which was planned for months and months ago, but neither of us felt compelled that we needed to get that out in any rush. But after talking to Tony Cottle, I think the city's going to have us something to look at, a proposed partnership or deal on that here shortly. We're still very excited about it. We think that it's a place where you can make a very positive statement about the city of Wilmington at its entryway. And it can be a place that introduces people to downtown Wilmington in a very positive manner. And so we're excited about working with the city and the Visitors Bureau on making sure it's something the city is proud of.
Right, because the Visitors Bureau might be part of that, in addition to residences and possibly a hotel or potentially different things.
I think we feel like it's a mixed-use residential, hotel, office project. But yes, we're planning on the idea would be to have a welcome center, and visitors welcome center to the city and to downtown, right there at where 3rd Street and Front Street split.
Okay, and one of the latest announcements as far as East West's involvement in the area is Project Indigo. Can you talk to us a little bit about that on in your partnership with Bald Head Island Limited?
A little bit. There's not a lot to talk about right now. We felt extremely fortunate and honored that the Bald Head Company approached us about being their partner in the development of Indigo in Southport. And it's an exciting piece of property, 300 acres, right on the waterway, just south of downtown, right adjacent to downtown Southport. We think it's got the chance to be a really fantastic neighborhood of different kinds of housing, different price points, hopefully some institutional and office uses, recreational uses, and what have you. We've gotten a great early reception from the city of Southport about their desire to have us come in and develop. Along the lines, we have a community in Chapel Hill called Metamont that is about the same size as Indigo, which has received a lot of acclaim as a great place to live and work, recreate, shop, and what have you. And we hope to recreate that at Indigo. Once again, we're working slowly through that to get through the pandemic and understand what the best type of development should be there. I think you'll see us beginning to make application for approval of the master plan and the site plan in the coming months. And it would be, hopefully you would see development begin next year on Indigo. But in these uncertain times, the exact timing is a little bit unknown right now. But we're really excited about it. We think it could be. We also think that fits for many, many years what we have done are mixed-use communities and neighborhoods as well. And this is a fantastic site. It's got a great marina on it, a lot of waterfront property on the mainland. So we're pretty excited about it being a pretty much a primary home community, not necessarily a second home community at all. Probably pretty much a primary home community.
And would that be one of the biggest projects that East West has worked on, as far as bridge or?
Well, we've done a lot of projects that are considerably bigger than that. We've done a lot of projects in the 800 to 2,500 acre process size over the last 40 years. But this would be a dense community. It would be a very significant community. I mean, at build out, I haven't gone to the trouble to kind of do the math, but at build out is probably a $1 billion plus community.
Okay. We have a question from Harris Weitzel Consulting. They wanted to know, how is your industry keeping pace and engaging with automation and the strong need to be more inclusive with community needs while sustaining the economic integrity?
Say that again?
So the question is, how is your industry keeping pace and engaging with automation and the strong need to be more inclusive with community needs while sustaining the economic integrity?
Well, you know, unfortunately, the real estate industry and the building and construction business, both horizontal and vertical construction, really does not have much automation. Everything's still pretty much done on site with subcontractors and labor, and so we don't have that many components that come already assembled. We don't have a lot of automation or robotics in the process of putting together roads, water, and sewer or buildings. So automation probably, unfortunately, has not played a very big part in real estate development. We're still pretty much building things and doing things the way we did decades ago. Certainly technology has had a big impact on the design side of things, as well as the sales and marketing side of things. So, automation and technology have played a role. A lot of our real estate sales, for example, come through people going online and using technology to learn about products. In terms of inclusiveness, one of the things that over the last 15, 20 years we've really tried to do is make sure that on all of our big projects that somewhere in the neighborhood of 15%, at least 15% of our subcontractor trades and what have you are historically underutilized businesses, whether they're minority owned, whether they're female owned. But our general contractor on River Place, Barnhill, which has done such a magnificent job for us, I think the last time I heard, they are well over 15% on River Place in terms of utilizing historically underutilized businesses. So we're trying very, very hard to be inclusive in the building process. If that answers the question.
That does. That answers that one. And they were also asking about, you guys talked about this with relation to Project Indigo at the Southport meeting that wasn't too long ago, but the environmental impact of your developments. Can you talk about
at Indigo specifically?
Well, yeah, I mean, I was thinking of Project Indigo specifically, since that's probably a good example.
Well, that's a very special piece of land, and it needs to be developed with great care and with great environmental stewardship. So we'll be doing state-of-the-art stormwater management, stormwater control. We'll be using building products and building methods and what have you that protect that environment. It's a piece of property with some very significant specimen trees on it. We'll be doing a tree survey to identify those special trees and preserve those. We will not be doing any mass grading on Indigo. All of the home sites will be individually prepared for building with the idea of preserving as much vegetation as possible. It's an interesting debate, Elizabeth. When you do a project like Indigo that is close to services and close to the main activity area of a community, and you do it in a dense manner like we'll be doing Indigo, we'll probably want to put on Indigo something in the neighborhood of 1,200-1,300 different residences. In our opinion, that is extremely environmentally sound way to develop. When you do development in a compact, dense manner, close to infrastructure, close to where the heart of the community is, that by doing that, you reduce the amount of traffic and the amount of use of vehicles going to and from. you get people closer to the workplace, you get them closer to shopping. I think that spreading way out and doing urban sprawl, suburban sprawl on larger lots in a less dense manner is considerably less environmentally sound than compact development where people, in exchange for environmental concerns, are willing to live closer together and have more harmony and intercourse with their neighbors. So, but we do take that. I'm glad that you asked that question. We really take that challenge extraordinarily seriously, and we have a standard that hopefully when we're finished with the development, the environment has been protected, and that those people and those uses that we put in a development are more strategically located and more sensitively located than they might have been with some other type of development.
Thank you for answering those questions. I wanted to ask you too, do you feel like that's the future of development, the denser, residences and getting more and more away from that urban sprawl?
It appears that we already know there's a significant segment of the market that will live in a smaller home or live on a smaller site in order to be close to things, to not have to drive so much. So yeah, I think a lot of people say maybe it's a third of the market now that prefers to live that way. I think it's growing. So yeah, it's interesting. The pandemic, one of the impacts of the pandemic is going to be, what does that say about the future of multifamily housing and what have you? Is that too close for people, in a coronavirus world? We haven't seen the evidence of that, but those are all considerations.
Okay. Is there anything else you would like to share with us today about your thoughts on Wilmington and how invested you guys are here in the future?
Well, Lucian and McKay and I are fully committed, and the rest of our company is fully committed to being a good citizen and a good part of the real estate development community in Wilmington on a long-term basis. We're extremely optimistic about Wilmington's future. Wilmington is still very much a good value. If you ask me what I think the concerns are, I'll be honest with you. I worry very much about the impact of climate change on Wilmington. I think it's going to be fine, but I think it's something that the government and the citizens of Wilmington need to be focused on. Anybody who still has their head in the sand that it's not occurring, or that it's not man-made, or that we shouldn't try to do something about it, are hopelessly out of touch in my mind. And so I think that Wilmington, we'd like to be a part of that discussion and make sure that Wilmington is a community that 20 years, 40 years, 80 years from now is still a viable and sustainable place to work and live in the face of climate change. I think it's the biggest challenge that almost anybody faces really anywhere in America. And when you have proximity this close to a coastal area, I think it's something you should take even more seriously. I have a great deal of optimism that the issue can be resolved and solved, and that we'll be resourceful and creative and figure out a way to come together as a community and do it. But I think it's probably past time to really get serious about that. Other than that, I don't have any real concerns about Wilmington. I mean, its leadership is great. The energy in the community is great. It's got a great esprit de corps among its residents. And I think that in a world where so many people are going to be able to have flexibility and latitude about their workplace, whether it's at home or whether it's in a place where they have a small office, that really plays into the hands of Wilmington, because the quality of life is so good. And you're going to be able to, there are lots and lots of jobs where you're going to be able to work on a statewide or national basis and live in a place like Wilmington and use technology to make sure that you're as efficient and successful as you would be if you were in a major metropolitan area.
Right. We have time for one more question, I think. And one of the questions we got was whether you have any plans for encouraging clean energy generation in your development, such as rooftop solar arrays.
Such as, say that again, please.
Rooftop solar arrays, like solar power in any of your.
Yeah, it's interesting. We have done some. We've done some study on that, and it's interesting. I think we're going to be seeing that we do more and more of that, because my understanding is the lines are about to cross in terms of using solar generated power and using power off the grid. That the cost, one of the things that's held solar back is it's been so much more expensive.
Right.
I think that those lines are getting very close to crossing now. And so I think you'll see more and more of that. Obviously, the biggest bugaboo about solar is your storage capability. And with what evidently technology is doing with battery storage capacity and battery storage ability is improving so fast that, yeah, I'm hoping and expecting that in the not too distant future, those kinds of alternative energy sources will become the main way that we provide energy to our projects.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for being with us today, Roger. It was nice to hear all the updates about everything you've got going on. And we appreciate you coming by.
Thank you for having me so much.
Okay,
Bye.
and we've got more going on at the Wilmington Biz Conference and Expo this morning, with some networking time and some seminars and roundtable discussions a little later, including hearing from area school superintendents. So be sure to check those out.